Hello friends, welcome back to the channel and we are continuing with our session on bus bar protection series. In this particular session, I am going to discuss about the basic concepts of low impedance bus bar differential protection. In the earlier sessions, we have already discussed about the fundamental concepts of high impedance bus bar differential protection, the concept of CT saturation from the physical point of view as well as from mathematical conceptual point of view. We have already discussed how the CT saturation is taken care of in the case of high impedance differential bus bar protection, and also, in the last session, we have discussed in detail about the concepts of bus zone and check zone. In this particular session, I will discuss about the concept of low impedance bus bar differential protection, wherein we will discuss about two of the most important concepts, that is how this slope and the pickup, that is this threshold. Suppose this is your I differential and this is I stabilization. So how this differential threshold and how this slope are determined in case of low impedance bus bar differential protection. The concepts of low impedance differential protection are exactly the same which we have applied or which we have already discussed during the transformer protection series, or most importantly, or during the transformer differential protection session. In this particular session, or in the upcoming 3 or 4 slides, you will observe the difference between the transformer low impedance differential protection and bus bar low impedance differential protection. And this difference is due to the two of the most important factors, that is one, in case of transformer, the voltage ratio on one side and on the another side is different, and due to that there is a difference in current in case of transformer differential protection between the primary and the secondary sides. Second thing, in case of transformer, you have to take care of the effect of tap changer, the inrush current and the CT saturation, but the effect of tap changers and inrush currents are not required in case of bus bar differential protection. In case of bus bar differential protection, that's why we are using single slope with some threshold value. And in the coming slides, I will discuss how these slopes and threshold value are determined in case of bus bar differential protection. Now, before starting this session, the 3 or 4 things that I already or that I always say in the beginning of each session are: first of all, this session is prepared from the open source materials uh, available on Google, and most of the slides of this particular session only are prepared from the relay manual of Siemens Decent Light bus bar protection relay, that is 7SS522, 523 and 525. Also, some of the concepts which are explained in this particular session are taken from the power system relaying book of Blackburn. If you have already subscribed to this channel, then you must be aware that all the video on this channel are published in both Hindi as well as English language, and you may watch any session as per your convenience. There is no difference between Hindi and English sessions. All the slides, all the discussions are exactly the same. The only difference is the language of this session. If you are new to this channel, then you may watch these sessions, and if you like the content, then you may subscribe based upon the utility or based upon the importance of these sessions for you as well as for your organization. Also, if you like the content, then please share this content with your friends so that more and more people get aware about these contents and they may apply these concepts at their organization. Now, without wasting any further time, let us start with our today's topic, and which is the basic concepts of low impedance differential protection. So first of all, the low impedance differential current measuring principle or low impedance differential protection, it works on the first Kirchhoff's current law. So what is the first Kirchhoff current law? It basically says that the sum of the current at any particular node is equals to 0, or in the simple terms, the current entering to a node is equals to current leaving from a node. So now a node may be a bus bar. Suppose this is a bus bar. So now a sum of the current, that is I1, I2 up to In, the sum of all these currents must be equal to 0. That is the simple concept on which this low impedance differential protection works. Now the current measurement in case of low impedance protection is biased differential current measurement, and the biased differential current measurement I have already discussed during transformer protection, so I am not going to repeat the same. Next, why it is called low impedance measuring principle? Because the impedance of relay is low in comparison to the CT circuit. If you can recall or remember from the high impedance theory, then in case of high impedance theory, high resistance value called stabilization resistance are connected in series with the relay coil to take care of the CT saturation during through fault conditions. So now in case of low impedance, since no such high resistance are used in the relay coil, so the impedance of relay is low. That's why it is called low impedance principle. Now there are two currents, two fundamental measurements. One is called differential current and another is called your stabilization or restraining current. So these two are the main current on which this differential current, low impedance differential current principle works. And what are the difference? The differential current basically is the sum or vector sum of all the current entering to a node or current leaving through the node. So all this current I1, I2, I3 up to In, the vector sum of this and the magnitude of that vector sum is called the differential current, while the scalar sum of I1, I2 up to In, this current magnitude is called your stabilization current. So basically you will have two current. One is differential current, which is the vector sum of I1, I2, I3 up to In magnitude only, and then the stabilization current, which is the magnitude of I1, I2, I3 up to In. So if you look at here, the difference is it is the vector sum of all current and then you are taking the magnitude, while here it is the scalar magnitude of all the currents. So how this is determined? Basically the momentary samples and filtered measured value are used for algorithmic evaluation, and now in the upcoming slides we will discuss about the slopes, how the slopes are determined, how the thresholds are determined in case of low impedance differential bus bar protection. So this is the basic tripping characteristic which you must be aware about for the bus bar protection. This is called the threshold, ITH you may call, or IPU, minimum pickup current. So your differential current must be above this threshold limit, then only the relay will issue a trip command. Then this is the slope. So your differential current, suppose this is the slope, so your differential current must be greater than the slope times stabilization current for your relay to issue a trip command. Now how this slope and this differential pickup current or threshold current is determined, that we will see in next couple of slides. So the tripping characteristic of bus bar relay, first of all the external fault or load condition. So suppose a very simple case, this is a bus bar in which you are having two feeders. So these are two feeders. Suppose there is a fault on this feeder. So in case there is a fault on this feeder, so this feeder will feed the current through this bus bar, and this feeder which is also feeding the current. So now suppose this current is your 10 ampere, this current is also 10 ampere, and this is the CT which are measuring the current. So now this is the current in this direction, this current is in this direction. So the total current I differential, which is equals to the vector sum, that is 10 current entering and 10 current leaving, that is 0. But the stabilization current for this case will be 10 plus 10, that is 20 ampere, and I am assuming here the CT ratio is 1:1 for easy understanding. And why the differential current is 0? Basically, if you just think logically, since this fault is external to bus bar, this is not a bus bar fault, so your differential current should always be 0 for an external fault. Otherwise, the bus bar protection will operate and it will trip both the feeder, which is not desirable. So for an external fault, differential current is 0 and you will having a high stabilization current. So this is the characteristic. Low differential current or close to 0 differential current with high stabilization current. So this is the characteristic of external fault or also for the load condition. So if it is a load condition, suppose 2 ampere current is coming and 2 ampere current is going from the bus. So the total current measured by these two CT, the differential current will be 2 minus 2, which is 0, and the stabilization current will be 2 plus 2, which is 4 ampere. So now for load condition it will be somewhere here, but in both the conditions you will be having a low differential current or close to zero differential current with high amount of stabilization current. Now suppose there is an internal fault onto the bus. So suppose this is a bus bar with again the two feeders, but now there is a fault on the bus. So now these two feeders, this feeder will feed the current. Also this feeder will also feed the current to this fault. And suppose now the current measured by this current fed by this is 10 ampere, current fed by this is 10 ampere. This is the CT ratio in the 1:1. So this relay is feeding the current, this feeder is feeding the current in this direction, this is also feeding the current in this direction. So now your I differential will be 10 plus 10, that is 20 ampere, and I stabilization will be the magnitude of 10 and 10, that is 10 plus 10, and this is equals to 20 ampere. So now if you take the ratio of I differential divided by I stabilization, which is your slope, so 10 by 10 is equals to 1. So if you draw a line passing through origin at an angle of 45 degree, that line is called fault line, and any fault on this line will be internal fault or the fault on bus bar. So this characteristic is called your fault line characteristic, while if you go back here, this is your external or load conditions. So now moving to the next slide, the next condition can be your CT error. So how the CT error are taken care of. So what is the CT error? Suppose again this is a case of you are having two feeders, and this current is 10 ampere, this current is also 10 ampere, and these are two CT. This 10 ampere current is flowing to the bus and 10 ampere current is going out from the bus. And now this is 1:1 CT ratio, this is also 1:1 CT ratio. If everything is ideal, then the differential current must be equal to 0, because 10 ampere current is coming and 10 ampere current is going out, and your stabilization current will be equals to 10 plus 10, that is 20. But now suppose due to some reason this CT has some error. So this CT accuracy, due to this inaccuracy, this CT is measuring this current as only 9.8 ampere, while this CT is again also has some error, and this is measuring this current as 9.5 ampere. So now in this case what happens, your total differential current will be 9.8 ampere current incoming minus 9.5 ampere current outgoing. So this your ID it will be equals to 0.3 ampere, while I stabilization IS will be 9.8 plus 9.5, that is 19.3 ampere. So we will be having a low amount of differential current. So this is low amount of differential current, which is 0.3 ampere with a high stabilization current. But now if you compare from the first case, so your differential current is not on the x-axis, because the differential current magnitude is not exactly 0, but it will be having a magnitude corresponding to the amount of CT error, but it will be having a magnitude, and your characteristic will shift into the x direction, or characteristic will shift in the xy plane, and your relay should not issue the trip command in this case. That's why you must use some differential pickup current, and your slope must be higher than this to avoid any undesired tripping. Now the second case, which is CT trouble. So what is the meaning of CT trouble? Suppose this is your bus bar, in which again you are having only two feeders. One, the current is incoming, this current is 10 ampere, and this is your outgoing current of 10 ampere. Now suppose for better understanding I am using this as 30, and this is one feeder with current outgoing as 20. So this is 20 ampere. Sorry, simple case. Suppose this is 30 ampere current is coming, then suppose 20 ampere current is going through this feeder, then suppose 20 ampere current is going through this feeder, and 10 ampere current coming into this feeder. So now the total differential current in this case will be 30 minus 20 minus 20 plus 10, that is 0, and total stabilization current will be 30 plus 20 plus 20 plus 10, that is 80 ampere. So this is the ideal condition. But now suppose and in every case I am discussing about or focusing only on that particular case. So in case of CT trouble, now I am not going to mix this with CT error. So now what is the meaning of CT trouble? So now suppose due to any problem in the secondary circuit or the secondary wiring of this CT, this current is not coming to the relay. So now what happens? The total differential current will be I differential will be, since this current is not coming to relay, so your total differential current will be 30 minus 20 minus 20, that is 10 ampere, and your stabilization current will be 70 ampere. So now if you see, you will be having a constant differential current of 10 ampere, which and why this 10? Because your this feeder current is not coming. Suppose this feeder current is not coming to your relay, then the differential current measured by the relay will be 20 ampere. So your differential current depends upon which feeder current is not being measured by the relay. And in this condition, since this is not a fault, this is due to the error in your secondary circuit. So your relay must not issue any trip command during this condition. That means the relay minimum pickup current must be higher than this magnitude, and this is this pickup current. And what is the minimum setting for this? The minimum setting for this should be like that. Suppose the feeder which is the heaviest loaded, so in this case 30 ampere. So suppose even this 30 ampere loaded feeder, this gets or the current of this feeder is not being measured by the relay. In that case also relay should not issue trip command. So in case your heaviest loaded feeder is out or its current is not being measured by the relay due to some problem in the CT circuit, due to CT trouble, then also your relay should not issue a trip command. So your heaviest loaded feeder, if it is out, that the current corresponding to that is the minimum threshold current or minimum differential pickup current. Now coming to the next condition, which is CT saturation or K factor. This is again a very interesting case or very important case. So suppose this is a bus bar in which you are having only two feeder, feeder 1 and feeder 2. So now suppose there is an external fault. This is an external fault, and now this is your 2 CT. Suppose the current through this is 20 ampere and current through this is 20 ampere, and this is 1:1 CT ratio. So now prior to fault, suppose this is during fault, and prior to fault, suppose the current is 2 ampere and 2 ampere, and both CT are reproducing this current faithfully in the secondary side. So now pre-fault, what happens is your pre-fault I differential will be 2 ampere current is coming and 2 ampere current is going, that is 0, and I stabilization will be 2 plus 2, that is 4 ampere. So this is the pre-fault condition in which you are having close to 0 differential current with a high amount of stabilization current. Now during fault, what happens? Suddenly your current rises. So your now current from 2 ampere, it rises to 20 ampere. So in this condition, if everything is okay, so in the initial half cycle or initial 1/4 of the cycle, what happens? This current is 20 ampere, this current is also 20 ampere, but your differential current, since 20 ampere is coming and 20 ampere is going, that is 20 minus 20 is 0, and your stabilization current will be 20 plus 20, which is 40 ampere. So suddenly your characteristic during fault will move from this point A to this point B. But now suppose after 10 millisecond or 20 millisecond, one of the CT gets saturated. So suppose this CT is now saturated. Once this CT is saturated, so the secondary current will now not be available to us as 20 ampere, but it can be anything from 0 to 20 ampere, depending upon the amount of saturation. If the CT is fully saturated, the current will be 0. If CT is not saturated, current will be 20. So now suppose the CT saturated to some mid value and your current available will be 10 ampere. So now this 10 ampere, this current is going through this, but this relay, this side current is 20 ampere. So differential current now, I differential will be 10 minus 20 and magnitude only, so it will be 10 ampere, and stabilization current will be 10 plus 20, which is 30 ampere. So if you compare from this up to this, your stabilized current has reduced from 40 to 30, while the differential current has increased from 0 to 10. So now if you see, the stabilization current is reducing and differential current is increasing. So up to this point, at point C, suddenly when your CT is saturated, so your differential current has increased and stabilization current is reduced. Now, if the protection function operates correctly, fault is isolated. So again, your normalization will be restored and differential current will reduce. Stabilization current will be equal to your sum of the current flowing through the feeders. So now, this point, the high point of this characteristic, it will be reached depending upon the amount of CT saturation. Suppose the CT is saturated to a high magnitude and your secondary current available is 5 only. In that case, your stabilization current will reduce and differential current will increase up to a very high magnitude. But if suppose your CT is not saturated heavily, but its current is 18. So in that case, your differential current will be very low, stabilization current will be also high, and it might move to this position. So depending upon what are the amount of CT saturation, where the CT saturates, your characteristic will move. And we doesn't want our characteristic, or we doesn't want our differential protection, busbar differential protection to operate. That's why we have to decide the amount of CT saturation, and that we will decide with on the basis of the K factor, which is called the slope of low impedance busbar differential protection. So basically, all these things, that is CT error, CT trouble, and CT saturation, will be covered in low impedance protection by using two settings. One, this, which is your differential pickup, and second, the slope, which is your K factor or stabilization factor. So this is the complete tripping characteristic for busbar low impedance differential protection. I have already explained that for CT error and CT trouble, you will be using some minimum threshold current for operation, this minimum differential current pickup. Then for external fault or for load condition, differential current will be 0 and the characteristic will be somewhere here. For the internal fault, your characteristic will move on the fault line and relay will issue trip commands. So now for your CT saturation cases, you can determine the slope depending upon the study of your system. So I will keep this session only up to this point, and I will discuss about the concept of centralized and decentralized bus bar protection system in our coming sessions. Hopefully the concepts which are explained in this particular session is clear to all of you, and if you like the content, then you may share this video with your friends so that more and more people gets aware about these concepts. You may comment in the comment sections regarding the topics or the sessions that you want from next couple of sessions onward, because hopefully in next 2 or 3 sessions, or probably in 2 sessions only, I will try to finish this busbar protection series and then I will start with some other session. So you may comment in the comment sections the topics that you want from next time onwards. Generally, due to some work and due to limitation of time, I am not publishing the video frequently, but I am trying to publish at least one video in every week, so that you may get all the concepts related to protection functions. Now, thank you for watching this session. We will meet again in our coming session with continuation of this series. Till then, thank you and goodbye.